G'day guys, and welcome to the first ever rugby podcast show, where it's a world premiere, and I'm really excited to be sharing this podcast with you guys. It's been in the making for a while now, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for ages, but I've never had the will to do it all the time. But I thought I'll give this a really, really good crack, and I hope this will go far, and we'll wait and see what happens, eh? What a World Cup it's been so far, eh? I've really enjoyed seeing us take on the French to Wales versus Fiji, which was the game on Monday morning. That was a great contest. I thought Wales probably deserved the win in the end, but the way that Fiji played with the likes of Titi Talea and Ravovo as well, they were just superb. And the way that they just kept that unstructured rugby going was a difference. Will be a difference in this World Cup, I think, because I think you'll see teams like South Africa, France, and Ireland that'll play that structured rugby and slow it down. But if they're with the likes of Fiji, if they play the likes of Fiji, for example, it might be that little bit more different. And they've got like South Africa, Ireland, or France, and us as we play them have to adapt to that ability. And I really hope Fiji go far in the tournament. Hopefully the semi-finals, maybe even the final, but they've just got to get out of the group first. I enjoyed England versus Argentina as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I've also enjoyed the likes of the game that I really, really enjoyed the most, and this will be my top pick of the round. And you're probably thinking it should be Wales Fiji, but for me, it was Chile versus Japan on Saturday night, and I thought Chile played some really, really good rugby. The likes of Rodrigo Fernandez and a few of their forwards I can't pronounce. I'll definitely learn the names later on. They play with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and they ran with the ball really well. I thought it was only their fitness and possibly their skill level that Japan overtook them. But to see them play in the World Cup for the first time was outstanding. And I believe that's the first new team in the World Cup since 2011, with Russia being that team. So the player of the round so far of the World Cup. The reason I sent England versus Argentina, because I reckon it's George. The reason that we'll talk about the England Argentina game in a little bit was because I thought that George Ford is my player of the World Cup so far. Now, you're probably thinking that's a bit of a controversy. You'll call that one, but for me, it's George Ford. The way he controlled the game against Argentina, he was kicking it down to the corner. He took points when off, or when it was the only option there. And yeah, he just controlled things really, really well, which was outstanding to see. And I think the teams that'll go far in the World Cup will be the teams that do that. They'll just grind teams out. And for me, I think George Ford is the player of the tournament for that. And I think that South Africa and France are the favourites so far for the Rugby World Cup final. Other mentions that I've got here, Dan Bigger, who I thought was a difference for Wales against Fiji. He controlled it really well. He got really angry at his team just before half time, where Wales did not kick the ball out and they knocked it on, and he just went nuts at them. Maybe there was a bit of vigor there, and that was the difference maker. I thought Mark Talea also played really well against the French. And Rodrigo Fernandez, who we've already talked about, who I thought played outstandingly well against Japan. And also Marty Lebok from South Africa with that no-look kick. And Gilly Bear from France as well, and Peter Steph-Dutoit as well from South Africa. He's a great number 7. So the teams for the first time are playing this weekend that haven't played in the Rugby World Cup so far. That's 4 teams, I think. And that's Portugal. They take on Wales. Now, if Wales play against Fiji, they'll run the floor against Portugal. But I hope Portugal show their passion and show their heart against Wales. If the national anthem singing is to go by, then I think they will do that really well. What next? Samoa versus Chile is the next one. Samoa are the next team to play their first ever game of the World Cup. I'm looking forward to seeing Lima Sobowanga play for the Samoan team. I think that he'll be the difference maker for them. He runs the ball really well, and if he does that bicycle kick over the top behind him against anyone, then he's definitely got a few tricks up his sleeve. But I think Rodrigo Fernandez again, he'll hold up his own against Lima. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting battle, that 10 battle between Chile and Samoa, and also the Chilean halfback, I forget his name. Also, so that 9-10 combination of Chile is gonna be crucial against Samoa. But I think Samoa overall should win that comfortably. But no doubt Chile will play with a lot of flair and a lot of flamboyance. Ireland versus Tonga. So Tonga is the next team to play for the first time in the Rugby World Cup. I'm really looking forward to seeing Tonga as well. Just these a few former All Blacks in there, the likes of Augustine Puller and also Malakai Fekitoa. I think they're going to be a strong outfit. They might not make it to the quarters, but I think they'll push the likes of Ireland, and they'll push the likes of South Africa as well. But I think Ireland should win it comfortably without too much hassle. But you never know, because if you don't know this, that Tonga did beat Australia early in the year on Tonga. So you never know with them and what they can do. Uruguay is the next team to play their first game, and that's against the French. Now, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing Uruguay play. They're one of my favourite teams at the moment. Did you know that rugby is their national sport? Believe it or not. Yeah, it is. Check it out if you don't believe me. So it's great to see another rugby-loving nation like Uruguay coming into the World Cup. And they'll test France, but I think France, again, all the teams playing this weekend, all the strong teams should win it. But it'll be great to see if the likes of Portugal, Lima, but the likes of Chile can beat Samoa to put an upset in the works. But the game on the round for me, though, is Fiji versus Australia at 3:45 a.m. Now, did you know that Fiji have beaten Wales? Sorry, Fiji have beaten Australia. Ignore the Wales one, guys. Because the Wales at the top there. All good. I think Fiji for me have had two wins against Australia, but that was in the 1950s. Right. So they've played each other 20 odd times. Australia have won 19 times. Fiji have won 2, I think there's been one draw, which was 3-3 in the 1950s, and since then Australia won them all. So it's a little bit like Wales versus the All Blacks for us, but not quite that history. Yeah. I think Fiji, if they played like the way that they played against Wales, was superb. I think if they play like that against Australia and even more, then they'll push them. I think if Tilly, Talea, and Ravovo both played really well, which they did against Wales, then they'll be outstanding. I think the way that they played for about 10-15 minutes in the first half and 2 minutes at the end towards the second half, if they play like that, then they're going to be no match for Australia. But yeah, again, you never know with Australia. I think that Australia might just make it to the semis. Maybe the final. Because you just don't know with Eddie Jones, do you? I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good coach, and I think he's cooking up something. But he just needs to tone it down in the media thing, I reckon. You just never know with them, do you? The All Blacks play this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing the All Blacks play. They take on Namibia, who I think the All Blacks will wipe the floor with them, to be honest. I think that they'll be too strong. Hopefully I'll shot myself in the foot with that one. It's a change side. So Cam Rawhurst's the number 9, and David McKenzie's the number 10. There's a brand new 9-10 combination for the All Blacks. Maybe that's a combination for next year. But I think that's another talk for later on. Who else is in that squad? Ufasa Tunga Fauci's in it. Samisoni Takiaho's in the squad is your hooker. Artie Savi's your captain at number 8. Dalton's at 7 still. And your midfield's different. It's David Havili and Anton Leonard-Brown, who I think complement each other really well. And your wings have changed. You've got Caleb Clark on number 11, and you got Lester Fong-Nuku on the other wing, and you got Bowden Barrett still at fullback. So they're still going for that dual pivot role at 10 and 15. So I think the All Blacks should win that. It's gonna be a fascinating World Cup going forward, and I hope that the skill level continues to rise, and I hope the minnows do really well, and I hope they cause some upsets. Hopefully not on Saturday morning, because that'll be bad for us. But I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll beat Namibia on the weekend. Thanks for still tuning in if you have. I know I've drabbed on a little bit, but I just want to get that stuff out there. It's been a fascinating World Cup so far, and I hope it can continue. And I hope you enjoyed the Rugby Podcast show. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to talk about as well, because I'm more than happy to do that. Fascinating. Hope you enjoy it. Cheers.